like it's gonna be a cloudy and possibly rainy day all week. If it actually turns out sunny, I was actually planning to do some interesting things, but yeah, obviously the weather has to cooperate. But yeah, continuous E3 day news, and I read some interesting drone stuff. Still couldn't find anything about the law updates, but it kind of made me think about how drone laws, like bad ones at least, interrelate in so many ways. So with the E3 stuff, I started by watching the Nintendo E3, the press conference today. A lot of fun stuff I saw. They had the Super Mario Odyssey, which is kind of funny because I saw like a dinosaur there. And when I thought of the dinosaur, I'm just thinking of everyone when it kept saying things like the drones and all that. With the laws here, they're all prehistoric. And so I was thinking here, like, hey, is that all we need to do is throw a hat on the transport minister and he'll change the laws to something more reasonable? I think one of the themes for this year's E3 must be bringing up old game franchises back from the grave. New Metroid announced today, like from the Nintendo. Nothing's shown, but I guess I should make some people interested. It is actually a huge franchise, but it hasn't been taken care of very well over the past few years. So hopefully it'll be able to bounce back. Okay, and what's this? Someone just decided to leave their cap behind? Just hoping the owner will come back and grab it. So I guess as usual, like every year, once you see all this cool stuff, all this stuff that I'm potentially interested in, come down to cost. Are you willing to invest in all the money to buy stuff like that? And I was just looking at the prices, like even for this Mario Odyssey, like holy cow, what's going on with the game prices these days? $100 almost? Well, I just had to go to my bargain hunting mode, trying to find the best deals. And just from what I've seen, like for those that are interested, like from what I've seen, you can actually get them for like $50 or so, like Canadian, if you actually look around like this. I think you guys remember kind of like last time when I did some pre-order stuff, you never know, they could actually change prices. I actually got like that Xenoblade for about like $20 or so. So that's what I did this year, pre-order. Hopefully it drops again, but that's something you should do too if you have like high-tech hobbies like me where you need to be frugal. So for drone stuff today that I found kind of interesting, I'm still interested in about things like public perception, because for the most part I think people don't realize, you know, dumb drone laws basically stop like basically everything in general, not just certain stuff. You stop like the hobbies, it probably stops everything in general as well. So I thought all these news bits that I read kind of all interrelate. Now the first one I read, apparently there was an aircraft expo that normally takes place, but it was cancelled for some reason. And so it was suggested in this article, like an opinion piece, that maybe they should have something like a drone expo. Because in general it seems like in Canada here, we're really behind like when it comes to the tech. And so I guess it's just an opinion piece like, hey, what do other people think about that? So it's interesting reading people's comments. Like this one guy here, he says, no thanks, can't compare drones to an air show, sorry. That's kind of interesting to me because in many ways I would feel drones are like the way of the future in many ways. And at the same time, why wouldn't you embrace like both? Like say the aircraft and the drones, like given the choice. Like even I believe like in Canada Day here, in terms of like an expo or a show, I believe they're trying to do like a drone lighting show. So again, like why are people like immediately like so quick to dismiss like drones? Like no, it can't be like fascinating in any way possible. It's not the same thing as an aircraft. I mean, I don't know, to me anyways, tech-wise, it is really fascinating in many ways. It's just kind of funny how most people don't see that. And I believe this one is in Ontario, where they said basically in the town they're gonna have drones flying around from June 12th to 23rd, taking aerial photos of the area. Now, to my knowledge, this was actually approved like by Transport Canada, so they actually had permission to do it. And to my understanding, they're doing this to get archival, I guess, videos and photos of the area. Like it says here, it will capture overshots of areas such as the Coronation Park, the Gairloch Gardens, if that's how you pronounce it, and so forth. And so the point is, to my knowledge, it's supposed to as well help them identify places that are reflected by like water or something like that, like maybe floods. But it's kind of interesting on how they're doing this to warn the public so they don't freak out, like saying, hey, there's a drone above me or whatever, like what's going on? Well, I don't know the exact drone they're using. It's kind of interesting how they had to emphasize this like to the public. Like it says here, the drone used will be small, quiet, battery operated vehicle with an onboard camera, according to the town, and will not fly over public spaces and won't capture any images of people, homes, or yards. Because that made me think too, like, because even some of you said, like, it's kind of ridiculous how before, like, with the Garneau, he was saying things like, we're protecting you from, like, these drones made of, like, full metal and all that. I mean, by the sounds of it, like, are they not just using, like, a regular consumer drone? Like, say, you know, like the Mavic or something like that, by the sounds of it? Because in many ways with things like this, it makes it sound like, again, all that public hysteria and stuff like that that Transport Canada created just for like all these ridiculous laws. It makes people think like all these drones are these huge helicopter type of things. They're super loud, or they're there to spy on you. To me in general, this just shows me, I mean, that should be the real issue. Educating the public. Don't brainwash them into thinking everything they see is like a Hollywood movie where drones fire missiles and everything like that. Although this was a little weird to me, I mean, someone else feel free to like chime in, but it says here that like the drone will not fly over public spaces, I guess to reassure people like, hey, don't worry, we're not quote spying on you. Although it doesn't make sense. It says if it's flying around like all these parks and all that, isn't that a public space? How are you gonna guarantee you're gonna avoid people in general, like, even if they're a little dot? I mean, to me, that should show how ridiculous like the law is or the narrative they use for drones. Because even for commercial purposes, I don't even think they can do what they say they're gonna do, like in order to avoid all of this stuff. Even for this, so I was thinking like, there's nothing revolutionary about it. I mean, they're flying the same drone I'm flying, and you just want archival videos. Isn't the more people, the better in general that fly for fun, like in a safe way? You could have like so much videos of the area in general.
I'm okay, I just want to get light. Is it mine? It's just the pooping machines.
Okay. Wonder why they coming back. Oh, the dog. The dog, yeah. Oh no, here, it doesn't push around it.
Well, spooky animals. Should a dog be banned from the park now? That was kind of interesting how they all just went back right away. And they're using all that hissing sound, I guess, to communicate with each other. So like with that previous story, I guess you can clearly see, I mean, drones have their benefits as long as people can get over their technophobia in terms of trying to restrict the technology from people using it in a good way. So that kind of brought me to this story, which you might remember a few days back, where Canada said they were investing, billions into the military, and drones were one of the things they're going to expand upon. But then this one here says the US could stand in the way of Canadian purchase of armed drones. So it's kind of like saying, even though Canada wants to be modern day, use the technology in a way like that to be more productive, then someone like a country like the US where they're buying it from, they could still say like, nah, I don't want to sell it to you for whatever reason. So they're kind of stuck in that sense. What this made me think here is because, normally like a military, they should have things that are really sophisticated, so high end, like that a regular person like myself, wouldn't even imagine of having like in an everyday life. So it made me wonder, like, why are you so restricted just from buying things from other people? Why can't we just build it ourselves? That then made me think, is it because we don't have the right manpower or knowledge of the technology to be able to do it ourselves in that sense? Which kind of, again, it makes everything interrelate. Is it because, for example, we're so fear-mongering of new tech in general that instead of embracing it, we basically push it to the side, like with these drones, for example? Like I said, for me, for example, I fly it for fun, just to take videos and all that. But by restricting people like myself, like, you never know. Who knows? Maybe in the future, someone like myself will be so like inclined to use the technology in a different way. Like, I found it like, hey, it's so great like to use the video footage like this. And who knows? Maybe I'll work with someone in the future saying, let's develop a drone that has, I don't know, like this obviously already exists, but something with like thermal abilities or something like that. But by stopping people like, myself from flying it for fun, even if it's recreational, you're kind of like hindering the tech in general, in my opinion. This is kind of a good example of it. are we always gonna play catch up like to the rest of the world? Like, I hope people really think about this for all the people that say those drone laws are fantastic and all that. No, they're not. Because like I said, they all interrelate as well. You think it just stops people from, quote, flying toys and that's it and it has no benefit in general? Well, you better believe it does. Like just with those other examples, people using it to archive footages for important reasons, or this, like for the safety and all that. You encourage people to use the tech. So people think about that, hopefully, like even for those people that don't fly drones. And even with the example of the people taking videos just for archive videos, imagine if we have such a Stone Age dinosaur mentality still, where we wanted to get, like, say, drone videos of an area, but to do that, you'd have to maybe, I don't know, fly the drone through a really tight space. But because the laws are so stupid where no one can get practice, you need someone with a steady hands that has the confidence to fly something in those really narrow or tight areas. You're like, I'm sorry, we don't have anyone in Canada here that can fly a drone like that. We need to, you know, bring someone else from another country to do that. I mean, how ridiculous would that be? Because Canada's too ignorant to make those laws better, where there's no good homegrown drone flyers in that sense. So again, hopefully everyone in the general public thinks about it, like even for those who don't fly drones. I mean, the tech can be used in a really good way. Just open up your mind, like get past this tech phobia. All right, see you guys later.